Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. The blackest hearted, blackest minded, blackest man on social media signing black in and shining again, asking you to hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I don't think I can do the topic of Ma'Khia Bryant justice because even the basic things that we would need to know are always up for debate. Who actually called the police? Who showed up? Did they show up to fight or to argue? Who turned the argument into a fight? We don't know these things, and therefore, we can't ask Ma'Khia, did you see that an officer had arrived? Even if you were defending yourself, did you see that an officer had arrived, or were you so enraged that you were stabbing people without seeing that there was an officer there? We can't ask her that. And the officer didn't have time to ask, because if he had taken the time to ask, she probably would have just continued in the swing and stabbed whoever she was about to stab. The officer, as far as he knew, was trying to save a life. I'm actually not going to go in on him this time, except for one thing. If anyone can come with evidence that that officer, in a similar situation, let a white person lunge at somebody else with any kind of deadly weapon, and he did not fire, I will then say, let's go in on him. If we don't have such evidence of him being this way, I can't say that. I don't have to love him, and I don't have to hate him. I'm required to be fair. Now, I picked up this recording in order to talk about single mothers. Don't ask me, but I'm preempting this thing. I'm preemptively asking you all to not ask me about Ma'Khia Bryant. Don't ask me questions about her. I'm preemptively saying this to you all for a very good reason, and that reason is plain and simple. I can't do that topic justice. Not right now, not with the information we have. And frankly, Nidja, you can't either. Now, regarding single moms, I want to say this. Right now, as things are, you guys are going to have to look at your own situation and determine. Now, if you are a single father or a married father, because I believe in polygyny, you have to look and see, will you be equally yoked in the event that you do get involved with a single mom? That's what the question is at that point. Now, if you are not going to be equally yoked in the event that you get involved with one, you certainly should not. I.e., you got a kid from a marriage and she's just been a thought with a few of them and got even more baby daddies and she got babies. You're not equally yoked. We're dealing with a scenario right now in which, and I've learned several things today. We're dealing with a situation right now in which there are more and more men saying, I'm done with these women with other men's kids. Some single fathers are even saying, I'm done with them too because I'll take responsibility for my kids. She won't let the dad take responsibility for hers. She wants me to do it. Why would I do that? I'm not here to replace another man in his children's eyes. I'm not here to usurp the role of another man. I'm not here to do things that I wouldn't want some other man doing in my case, and I agree with these men. You can be kind to somebody else's kids. You can love them. You can bond with them while being honest about who is the father, from whom they come, to whom they're actually related, and from whom they deserve to collect an inheritance even. See, these ladies out here trying to mismatch things, mismatch and mix match. Now, mismatch is when things don't match up and you treat them like they do. Mix match is when you just take different things. Well, it's really the same thing. They're trying to mismatch. I'm sorry, mismatch is when you match things up they clearly do not match. Mix match is when you take things that don't really matter, the combination is not important, and you just you come up with an unlikely combination, but there's no reason that they can't. An example would be that my wife and I would be a cultural mix match. She comes from one culture, I come from another. They actually turn out to have a lot of things in common. That is a mix match. A mismatch is when you are an educated brother and a completely uneducated ratchet thought monkey. wants you to pair up with her and take care of her. Mismatch also can include the way these ladies are with the dual mating strategy. They want one type of man to breed the kids, and he's not really good daddy material, or they think he's not. At the time they're laying with him, they think he won't be, and when he turns out to be dedicated, then they drive him away from the kids. Then, in either case, they decide to get another man to raise the babies. One man to breed, another to feed. Now, that is a mismatch. I say to you, gentlemen, continue saying no to single moms, because not that you hate them. There are divorcees and widows out there that are not a part of anybody's problem, but continue saying no to them because, frankly, gentlemen, you have to understand one thing. As I said before, this is war. This is intentional. They know for the work they're doing it on purpose. And you see, when they come to you with another man's kids, you have to ask yourself, without this other man's children, would they come to me when they were childless? Usually the answer is absolutely not, they wouldn't. Because ain't but a few men they really want to breed with anyway. No, they would not. And this is a question that must be asked. Once you get to, whenever it was you got to that age where you started being unable to find them childless and you were childless, you have to ask yourself, if we were equally yoked, would they come to me? No. If they didn't have chillins, would they come to me? No. Because you see, this type of treatment that was initially reserved for me, the ultra evasion that they practiced with Mr. Samuels, that was initially reserved for me in my city. Where I grew up, I was the one they selected for this stuff, more so than other men. This dual mating strategy, they initially selected me for that in my home city. They weren't doing this to everybody. But now what we're seeing is that they've been doing this more and more increasingly as time goes on to more and more men. Now they're doing this across the board to most of you in this audience, and it's a growing audience. Shout out to the new subscribers, those of you who have introduced yourselves to me by name and those of you who have not. And I mean that from the bottom of my black heart and the depth of my black mind. No sarcasm when I say that. Welcome. Please hit the share button. Help somebody benefit. See, recently a mother was charged because she abandoned her 5-year-old son with disabilities. She's 41. She had him when she was 36. Understand this. She said she was afraid of him. I don't know why. My suspicion is that her only true fear was that he would grow up to see through the BS. There was an apartment in Queens in which 2 newborn infant twins were found dead. The pressure is on them now. They're not finding men to help them out. Good. Now the question is going to be, are they going to give them to the fathers, or are they not going to? We see that there are cases where they would rather abandon them, even take them out, but not give them to the dads. Now, the next time a woman says something to you about, especially if she's a childless woman and she tries to advocate for the single moms, talking about why you wouldn't look at real man, look after somebody else's kids. When she tries that, would this what you say to her? Okay, listen, right now, I'm childless and so are you. What do you say that we tie the knot and then we go and adopt? That means neither one of you raises your own flesh and blood, but you find a black child that doesn't have their own family and you raise and love that child. Better yet, find a pair of black siblings that don't have their parents and keep them together. Adopt them together and keep them together. If you're going to do something noble, that's one noble thing to do. You look at her and you suggest this to her, wherein you both equally make sacrifices to co-parent as a couple kids that don't belong to either one of you and are not related to you by blood. See what they say. Because I would assert right now that in this, even in the blue pill manosphere, there are more men that will be willing to adopt children under different circumstances. Some of you when they're not related, they just need someone. Others of you when they're related to you, and the father for whatever reason passed away, or they're just related to you. There are more of you that will be willing, you the red pill man, talking about saying no to single moms. More of you will be willing to adopt a child knowingly than you would be to let some lady bring the kids along as a package deal in exchange for some used Arby's. Or you're more willing to do this as you are, red pilled, aware. You would be more willing to do this for a child, knowing without being lied to, without being deceived. You'd be willing to do this for a child, more willing than these ladies up here trying to guilt you into raising their kids by other men. You say to them when they come to you with the guilt trips and what you should be doing as a real man, you simply say to them, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to adopt. He could be related to me. He might not be, but I'm going to adopt knowingly. And then I'll find a mom for him. I'm not going to let you come along and tell me that in exchange for your used up Arby's beef taco looking snatch that I have to take care of a bunch of chillins that ain't mine. And the reason you got to say things like this, gentlemen, is because, see, these women know. When you tell her, you wouldn't even be sitting across from me having this conversation if you were childless like me. You're not telling them something they don't know when you say this. I thought at one time I thought there was a subconscious. No, this is conscious. They're aware. They know this. You say to them, look, I already know that we wouldn't be having this conversation if you were childless like me. But I want you to know that I know that you know this. I want you to know that I know that this is conscious on your part. You've already pegged me as the man to not breed, but to feed. Say this to them. Because right now, a lot of them think that we don't know this about them. No, we know this about them. That's the important reason, the most important reason to look at them and say, absolutely not. Even if I'm going to be nice to somebody else's kids, bond with them, even if I raise them, I'm not doing it at your behest and on the terms favorable to you, if I do it at all. And another thing I want to say to those of you who may find out that one of your children is not really yours. Do not be the bigger man to decide to go ahead and keep raising them and taking responsibility. It's not because the kid is at fault. They're not. Some dudes love to talk to, some of us in this audience, in this space, love to talk tough online and then start, saying bad things about the kids that you find out. In a hypothetical situation, the kid you find out is not yours or belonging to the man that thought he was a dad. That little bastard. No, don't cuss the kid out, man. The kid ain't the problem. It's the mom. So it's not because of anything to do with the kid that I'm telling you don't raise him. It's just that, you're not the dad. It's not your responsibility. For one, we need to force these ladies to go straight to the fathers for help. No one else. Maybe I don't really care that much about the government as much as I do care about them going to other men that are not the fathers for help. I care about that. That's what gets to me. I don't like the fact that they go to you. You would have never been the father because they would have never laid down with you, and it ain't even your fault or something wrong with you. And then they turn to you when they got the kids. I need help. Stopping you on the street and don't know you from Adam. When these ladies come, when you find out that you've been raising a kid that's not yours, understand this. It's never an accident. The conception may have been unplanned, but even then it was too risky. It was a gamble. But it's never, oh, well, I thought he was yours even if I had someone else. It's never that. It's never that. It's never that. Never is it that. The times it could possibly be that in the ways are so rare they might as well not exist for you. It's like winning the lottery. It ain't gonna happen to you. Somebody's gonna win. It just ain't gonna be you. It's the same thing. So you're going to have to go ahead, gentlemen. When they come to you, or when the DNA results come back and you find this out, you're going to have to go ahead and start saying to them, look, you knew what you were doing. I'm not going to continue to be there, even if I love the baby. I'm not going to continue to be there because you planned this. You either planned this before you cheated, or you planned this as soon as you found out that you were pregnant and you knew you'd been with somebody else in addition to me. So one way or another, at some stage, you planned to use me to raise somebody else's baby unknowingly. This means that you think that my DNA is inferior. You think that I am an inferior male, and I don't have to respect you or your needs for that. And I don't have to take any of your responsibilities for that. The baby is your responsibility. If you find that you cannot, then you must say to her, you give up custody. You must tell her, you relinquish custody. You let me adopt him or her by myself, without you. If you're bonded and you cannot break that bond with the kid, I understand. Maybe you're not capable of it. Because we're not the animals they think we are. I mean, we're animals, but not the ones they think. Then you put those terms to her. You tell her, then you give up. You give up the baby you were going to lie to me about and pass off as mine when he or she is not. You give up the baby, and I will take responsibility, but not with you. Well, I'm the mother. And you have every right to look at them and say, you know, I actually don't, I have a good reason to doubt you would tell me the truth about that too. I mean, at least you have a logical reason to say that. So, no more Mr. Nice Guy with him. At all. Because it's never an accident. It is very intentional that you wind up in these situations where it's always when you're unequally yoked that they start to show interest in choosing signals. There's a reason for it. Don't tolerate it anymore. Thank you for listening. Black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power just because they don't like it. Black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.